Cognitive dissonance. Well, I'm not a psychologist, right? And I do not have the degree or authorization to talk about any psychological experiment. However, we still need to know about cognitive dissonance so that we can somehow or the other try to find out a balance. We have all probably heard about it, right? The theory of cognitive dissonance, which was probably invented by Leon Festinger in 1957, I believe. I was working for an insurance company, and then when I was getting trained, I got to know about this term. And yes, somehow or the other it's related to us, and we deal with it every day. Now, why do we still talk about this? Why it's very important to know? Well, let's find it out. Well, cognitive dissonance is not a disease or mental illness. No, it's nothing like that. It's some sort of a paradox, I believe. Now, once you talk to the people, then you'll get to know why cognitive dissonance lies in each and every person's mind. Well, it's not something that we will need to find it out by reading books or reading theory or something like that. No, we know there is a theory, but realistic way in day-to-day life, we do face it, but we don't realize it. We don't recognize it. Well, each and every person, somehow or the other, inconsistent. Now, what does typically cognitive dissonance mean? Well, does it have a specific definition? Well, yes, you will find it on Google. Definitely, that's pretty easy. But it's all about inconsistent thoughts. The biggest enemy is that contradiction. So you are thinking about, okay, this thing may be beneficial for me. But on the other hand, your mind is also thinking, well, it may not be beneficial for me. So this contradiction with some or the other is helping you to give birth to cognitive dissonance. So your thought process is motivating you or probably haunting you to go towards a way, but your knowledge or maybe your discussion that you had with some of the friends or maybe relatives or something, that is typically telling you, oh, no, that's not a good idea. You might get trapped. Now, this is something which we are dealing with probably every day. But how to find it out, a balance between that? I'm not saying that inconsistency will not be there. I'm not saying everybody will be consistent. It's not possible. Well, our mind doesn't function in that manner. But how to find out, how to strike a balance between that? So think about it. Say, for example, a salesperson or insurance salesman, like me, when I used to be a freelancer, as I said. So when an insurance salesman comes to you and tries to sell you an insurance plan, okay, and that person talks about a lot of benefits, but that person talks about the premium towards the end of the discussion, right? Because that's what matters to that particular person majorly. Why? Because that is the transaction. That's where the person is generating revenue for the company he or she is representing, right? But at the same point of time, think about the person, think about me, think about you maybe. When you are trying to find out what are the benefits hidden in that particular policy, what are the things you're going to get once your policy gets matured, right? Then you think about all those benefits first. And then once you get to know about the premium, get to know about the money that you need to invest, then you start thinking about, okay, this may not be a good idea. Well, should I invest this much of amount? So all those things will come into picture because it's your hard-earned money. So your hard-earned money is somehow or the other not going to go away that easily. And you don't want to let that happen, right? So for that reason, you are thinking about it too much. And the other person is also trying to push you to go for the policy because that person is trying to sell that policy to you. So two persons are there, but there are a lot of thought processing involved. The person's intention, direction, or maybe target absolutely different than yours. It has to be, right? But the contradiction will remain the same. Because the person who is trying to push you for the policy, that person even in a dilemma, that person is even thinking about multiple things. He doesn't know whether he will be able to successful to sell it off. You do not know whether that particular policy is going to be beneficial for you or not, what you are trying to purchase. So the contradiction is everywhere. It's normal. But how to balance it up? For that reason, you need to have knowledge. So, say for example, you want to purchase an insurance policy, the example which I gave you. Maybe you can buy some time. Well, you can listen to the person. You can have the document in your hand probably, but buy some time. Then do a research. It's not only about discussing with your family members, with your friends, colleagues, acquaintances, whoever. No, it's not only about that. Because personally, I believe whenever you are discussing about one particular thing with multiple people, your cognitive dissonance part will be more active. Because you're not only gaining knowledge, you are also gaining opinions. And that's where you might get deviated. So a lot of different opinions will come into picture. Somebody will say, yes, please go for it. Somebody will say, no, don't go for it. It's not the right time even. And you should not invest in somewhere else. Well, insurance is not an investment tool that we need to understand first. But that's a topic for a different day. But over here, the major thing which is actually helping cognitive dissonance to take it over or take our mind over, because of we are listening to too many things. That's where my focus lies. So when you are actually performing a task, when you're going through a process, as I always say, trust your trainer. Trust the expert. Try to find it out by yourself. Once you listen to an expert, then you will not get deviated. I know nowadays it's very hard to get an expert, a proper trainer even, who will definitely help you to understand. But still, we have to try to find it out. You need to think about this contradiction. Your mind should be trained in that particular manner where there should not be any contradiction. Your confidence, your knowledge, your attitude, all those things should be synced properly so that you don't have to think about that whether, okay, I should go for it or not. You should not be in a dilemma. And for that reason, yes, we got to think about how to handle cognitive dissonance in a better way.